welcome everyone. So today's video is about how to start a vintage 60s and 70s inspired wardrobe. So I said this a couple times before, but I've been dressing like this for quite a while now and my closet has kind of been building up over the past couple of years. But I decided to just make a video because I've got so many questions about this on like, how do you get started? Where do you start? So the first and most important thing I think is to really inform yourself about the time. You probably already did that to a certain point and that's why you clicked on this video. But what I mean is to really go in depth, like get informed about the music, the pop culture, politics, the social aspects. The 60s and 70s were a really interesting and moving and changing time. So it's really important to kind of understand all of these dynamics if you want to understand the fashion of the time. So a great source for 60s and 70s style inspiration, I think, are like books from that time, music videos, concert videos, also all types of pictures that you can find. You can find a great amount of awesome pictures on Pinterest and Instagram, obviously. I will link you my Pinterest and Instagram below. I share a lot of pictures also like in my stories from awesome 60s and 70s styles. I would also highly recommend you to get in touch with other people who really love the time period. Sometimes there are like Instagram sales or something like that going on, but also just to get in touch and to talk about the time period and really feel the spirit of that time. One of the most important things I think is to understand the spirit, and the spirit of the 60s and 70s was a lot about being your true self. So I feel like it's not about copying someone's style, which obviously you can do that. Like I've been seeing pictures of Patty Boyd or Sharon Tate or Marianne Faithfull where I'm like, wow, I love that look, and then I try to recreate it and that's great. But like the core of all of the fashion from that time was to be yourself and do what you love, and I think that's really important to just keep in mind. Also a huge part of the 60s was like customizing your clothes, so either like drawing on your clothes or doing some sort of customization and altering, and I don't do a lot of that, but I like to do it, and I will show you a few pieces later where I like did that and how it turned out for me. So obviously a great source to get 60s and 70s fashion are thrift stores. They just have the most amazing things. Also places like eBay and Depop, and as I said, like maybe even Instagram sales are really good for that time. I personally think it's like a very sustainable way of dressing. That is actually a big part of why I started dressing vintage, just because I didn't want to participate in the whole like child labor and fast fashion community anymore, and that's why I started to dress vintage, at least like partially. And I think that is so important to just understand how much you're doing for the environment and sustainable lifestyle if you start to dress vintage. So I get a lot of questions about where I get my clothing from, and honestly a lot of it is either from eBay, obviously from the thrift store. I love to go to the thrift store. Also stuff like garage sales and any type of vintage stores. Sometimes vintage stores might be a little bit more expensive. That's why I like to go to regular thrift stores and charity shops. Also because I love to like go through the aisles and then you dig through tons and tons of very weird clothing just to find like that one really good gem. That is something that I really enjoy doing, and I would love you to try it if you're interested in that type of clothing. I know right now with everything that's going on, it's not so easy to go in stores and actually look at clothing, but as soon as we're all safe again and we can go back to stores very safely, I would highly recommend you to do that. Another thing that I always say, and that I really and truly mean, is that you do not need a lot of clothes to dress vintage. A lot of people in the community, just like I am, are just collecting these clothes, and that is why most of us have a lot of clothing, but you don't need all of this. I think if you get like a few really good staple pieces, you can wear them over and over again. If you just mix and match different pieces, I feel like you can get so many great looks out of very little amount of clothing. Another important thing is to understand that in the 60s and 70s there were so many different trends, like depending on which country we're talking about and like which specific time. Are we talking more about like the early 60s, the mid 60s, the late 60s? In the early 60s it was a lot about like more of classic silhouettes. Then we had the mini skirts in like the mid 60s, the late 60s where everything was a bit more psychedelic and a bit more hippie, vibe-ish, I'd say, and then like the 70s where a lot of new styles kept popping up. So I feel like the 60s and 70s are such a versatile time period with so many amazing trends, and you can either decide which one you would like to wear, if you're gonna be like more of a mod person, more of like a beatnik person, or a hippie. And when I started dressing vintage, I really struggled with that because I thought I had to decide. I had to either be a hippie or a mod. But in the end, I feel like you can wear all of them. Like some days I will be dressed like this, which is a very mod look, some like a cute little blouse and the beret. And then the next day I will go full on hippie. So I feel like, as I said earlier, it's all about being your true self and just dressing however you feel and expressing who you are. So now I would like to share some staple pieces with you, so just some prominently worn items from the 60s and 70s. One of the biggest trends from the 60s and 70s were turtlenecks. I have two right here. I will show you a few more later on in the video, but basically just get like a few really great turtlenecks. You can layer them. I love to put them under dresses, under blouses, just to keep me kind of warm. They are beautiful and you can find them everywhere. Like obviously you can find them in thrift stores, you find them online, you pretty much find them at any store. I have some of them from thrift stores, others I got off of like some sustainable fashion websites, and they're just such great basic pieces, and yeah, you can never really go wrong with a turtleneck. So on this one I really like the ribbed knitting. It's such a great basic piece and it keeps me really warm. And then this one is also fitting me super nicely, and I kid you not, this is the softest thing ever, so also a very great find. Then I have this one, which I got from Zara like years ago. I was still, I think, in middle school when I got this, so it's been a while. It has this really cute little lettuce hem that is so cute, and also the color is just really great. As I said, amazing for layering. This kind of doesn't really have like a high turtleneck, but still I think it's so cute. And this is also something that was worn very permanently and prominently throughout the 70s. Like that kind of mustardy yellow was very popular back then. I also have this, which is great. This is a turtleneck without any sleeves. They were also very popular back in the days. I got this at a thrift store too, and I think it was like $5 maybe, probably even less. And yeah, I love the color. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Another big trend of the 60s and 70s were blouses and collared shirts. So if you're looking for a 60s and 70s style blouse, you want to look for something with a very great shaped collar, just like this one. As you see, it kind of broke down here, so I have to definitely fix this. But I love the print of this. It's such a beautiful shirt. Also, the way that the collar is shaped is amazing. And what I really like about blouses too is either you can put like a turtleneck underneath and layer it like this, or you can wear like some sort of cardigan or pullover over it. So for example, this, you could either do like something like this and then kind of have this stick out just like that, or something like this, which is a cardigan that I got from my mom I think years ago. But this would look so cute with this one on top. So yeah, like cardigans and pullovers are great for layering too. But getting back to blouses, so these ones, especially with the sleeves that are like very wide and then kind of cinched in at your wrists, were really popular. Also, obviously, the classic white blouse. So I have two that I want to show you. First of all, this one that has like the most amazing, gorgeous, dainty sleeves and beautiful buttons, and also the collar of this is so beautiful. I got it at a thrift store for like $3 or $4. This was like a real steal. Absolutely love it, and I wear this so much. It was absolutely and totally worth it. And then I have this one, which is kind of an off-white color, but what I wanted to show you about this is this little thing right here. So this kind of shawl that it has in the front, and you can kind of tie it. Do what I did with this one. This was a very popular 60s style, especially in the early 60s, more of like a mod look. I got this blouse at a garage sale, I think, and I just absolutely love it. I think it's so beautiful. Love the off-white cream color and wear it a lot. Another big thing were colored blouses. So this one might be one of my absolutely favorite blouses ever. Closes like this, has this beautiful color. This reminds me so much of like the early Rolling Stones days, something Ryan Jones would have worn. So beautiful. This is also 100% real silk. It's kind of falling off. This is a big size. Like I don't really fit into this. It's very loose on me, but I think it looks so good. As I said, it's 100% pure silk. I got this from a charity shop for like $10, I think. It is so beautiful and I just absolutely love it. Another big blouse trend were any sort of like printed blouses. So in the 60s, prints like this were very, very popular, like anything that's like a graphic kind of print. So I have this one, which I really love. And then in the 70s, people were very much into fancy and funky prints. I just love this shirt. This might be so over the top for some people, but I think it is so cool. It kind of has this like fall print on it. Absolutely love this one. The last blouse that I want to show you is this one. It combines two very, very popular aspects of the time. One of them being the kind of ruffly rim right here. So the ruffly hems were very, very popular back in the days, and then also just corduroy. Corduroy, I think a lot of people associate this with the 70s, which is correct, but it was also very popular in the 60s too. Love the color, got this at a thrift store. This, for example, is not real vintage, so I guarantee you this is not from the 60s. But it kind of has this look. This was probably made, I'd say, like in the 90s, maybe early 2000s, but it just looks like it was back from the time. Moving on to dresses and jumpsuits. So if you want to start a 60s and 70s inspired wardrobe, one staple piece are mini dresses. Designer Mary Quant invented them in London in the early 60s, and they were such a thing back then. I have quite a few mini dresses. I love the look of them. I love a mini dress. I just love a mini dress with some boots. It's always an amazing look and I want to share some with you now. So a great staple piece would just be a black mini dress like this one. This is so simple. I love to wear it with a blouse underneath. It just fits very, very nicely. Or you could also get one like this. This is from the early 2000s, I'd say, like looking at the tags. Yeah, probably early 2000s, but the way that this already has a belt, gonna talk a bit more about accessories later in the video, but this one would also be a very, very classic space age inspired dress. So this is the classic 60s mini dress, a very Mary Quant inspired classic look. This is originally from the 60s. It's just short and then a very boxy cut, a high neckline, very cute, love the print. This is one of my absolutely most worn dresses. I love it, and something like this would be a great start to a 60s wardrobe. Another really big trend at the time were so-called paper dresses. So they are made out of very, very light materials and just a very basic and simple cut. It's mostly a very short hemline and then kind of looser fitted. Yeah, this one is very cute, love it and wear it a lot. So plaid was also very popular in the early 60s, mid 60s. Yeah, and I have this plaid mini dress, love it, wear it a lot with this beret actually, and this is just a very cute look. And it's so versatile, like I could either wear a turtleneck underneath this or a blouse and just style it with either some boots or some sandals, and I just think it's such a great piece. So if you're more into like the psychedelic trend, I would recommend you to get a dress kind of like this one. This is also a mini dress. It has a wonderful, beautiful neckline because it's like very high, kind of a turtleneck. It doesn't have any sleeve. As you can see, it's kind of beaten up here, but that is because it's from the 70s. So this is a good 50 years old now. Absolutely love this. I got it at a thrift store. I think it was like $5 or something. Absolute steal. Yes, so prints like this are very, very popular. Just anything colorful, psychedelic is very late 60s, early 70s. So these two, I want to share a little trick with you. I got these two dresses at a thrift store and they were both very, very long. And what I do when I shorten them, I just kind of like put them on, decide how short I want them, cut them, and then just sew around them. And then I keep the fabric. Let me untie it and show you. So I keep the fabric, fold it over and kind of sew these little strips out of them, and then when I put on the dresses I can either wear them as like little shawls or also tie them up in my hair. And that is a very, very big trend of the 60s and 70s, to have matching things. So have like the same sort of dress as your accessorize, have the same kind of pattern on your pants that you have on your jacket. And this is just a very easy way to do that, and also a very, very good customization. So I am super short, so I have to pretty much shorten all of my dresses, but it's great because all of the extra fabric I then have, I can just turn into accessories. If you've never sewn before, don't be afraid. It's pretty easy. Just type in sewing tutorial on YouTube and you will find a ton of things. It is so easy. I started sewing back in school and it's just very, very easy. Don't worry, type it into YouTube, you will be fine. Another big trend, especially of the 70s, were rompers and jumpsuits, just like this one. I love to wear them. Like, dresses and jumpsuits are so easy to wear because basically you just put it on and you're fully dressed. And then pieces like this is very simple and plain, but you can style this up and down with so many different things. Like, you could wear knee-high socks with it, or some sort of tights. You can put a turtleneck underneath it. You could put like a ton of different belts and other accessories with it. You can put a hat on. There are so many great ways you could style something like this. So that is, like, for me, the core of all of the 60s and 70s styling. Just get a few really great staple pieces that fit you, that are amazing, and then start working off of that. Style them differently and then just get a new thing whenever you find something, whenever you have money to spend a bit. Go to a thrift store, look out for some things that are great, and yeah, just as I said before, you don't need a lot of clothes to dress vintage. These are just all some examples of things that you could wear. Just know that you don't have to have a lot of clothes, because when I started dressing vintage, I felt so pressured into having a lot of stuff. But honestly, obviously when you start dressing vintage, you don't have a ton of things, and it's okay. Like, you build your wardrobe up day by day, and that is absolutely fine. Another big trend, especially of the late 60s and early 70s, were vests in any sort and shape of way. So I, for example, have this one. This is a very festival, like, I want to say shirt, because honestly I don't wear this as a vest, I just wear it as a shirt in the summer when it's really hot, and it is so beautiful. Embroidery was a really, really big trend. This just gives me the most intense Woodstock vibes, and when I found it, I had to get it. This was kind of a bit more on the expensive side, but it is embroidered and is so beautiful. Another great staple, if you're looking more for like a hippie look, are vests like this one. So this is a crocheted vest. I got this at a thrift store. It wasn't really expensive. I think it was like $7 or something. And this is so, so cute. And as I said, if you have a vest like this, just put on a turtleneck underneath and you're good to go. Another great vest would be anything with a leather and a sheepskin maybe. I only get leather second-handed. I said it before, I say in pretty much every video, but I live vegan. I would never ever buy a new leather product. I don't support that at all. But this is leather of animals that have already sadly passed, and I think it's the most sustainable thing to rewear all of these things and really make use out of the leather that we already crafted. Vests in any shapes and form were just a big trend of the time. Also, vests like this one. This is just a velvet one with like little mirrors embroidered onto it. You can wear these with dresses, with shorts, with skirts, with jeans. They go with everything, and they just give that like little bit of extra Beatles or whatever touch. Sometimes I feel like it's just the little things that make outfits look like certain time periods, and this just really gives all the right vibes for me. Or you could get something like this, which is just a beaded little vest, absolutely gorgeous too. Sometimes I just take some safety pins, here's a little fashion trick, and I just kind of pin it down and wear it as a dress. Absolutely love to do that as well. So I think that is a very important thing of 60s and 70s fashion. Just put things together differently. Like, something that is actually a shirt can be a skirt, something that is a vest can be a dress. Just think a bit out of the box and craft your clothes however you like them and however they fit you the best. Moving on to bottoms. So I think the biggest 70s bottom trend are definitely flared pants. So I, for example, have these ones. These are not vintage. I got them at a thrift store, but I'm pretty sure these are like new. I think someone probably got them like a couple of years ago and then just didn't wear them anymore. But like, any sort of flared jeans are great for 70s looks. Also corduroy pants, just like these ones. I got them from Zara a couple of years ago. They're amazing. They're just a great quality. I love the color, love the cut. They're kind of also flared at the bottoms, high-waisted, great staple piece. Also, a lot of people think that flares were only in the 70s, but flares were also kind of popular during the 60s, so you can absolutely style them with those looks. You could also just wear like some black skinny jeans. Black skinny jeans go with everything. If you just put on black skinny jeans and like a black turtleneck, a big belt, and then maybe like some sort of shawl, you have a perfect beatnik look. Snap second and you're done. Another trend would be cigarette pants. So I, for example, have these. They have this kind of hem style down here. They were very popular during the 60s. People like Jane Birkin wore them a lot, and they're also a great staple to just go with pretty much everything. Honestly, I am personally not a big jeans and like pants person at all. I love to wear dresses and skirts and shorts. So here are some skirt recommendations. The core of a 60s skirt is absolutely, definitely a black little mini skirt. If you have a black mini skirt, that gives the 60s look to every outfit. If you just wear them with a turtleneck, some boots, you're good. Wear them with a blouse, you're good. A classic little mini skirt will just give you that instant 60s look. I've had this for years. This was my mom's, I think, and I just shortened it. As I said, I hem a lot of my things just to make them shorter and to make them look very 60s inspired. So this one is a great piece. I also got this one at a thrift store. It was super inexpensive, very cute. So any sort of like very simple cut short skirt is an absolutely 60s staple. Any sort of corduroy or leather skirt is also great. I have, for example, this one, which is probably my absolutely favorite skirt ever. I got this at a thrift store. Patty Boyd wore a lot of skirts like this. Just type that into Pinterest, 60s mini skirt. You will find tons and tons of pictures, and yeah, they just go with everything. These are so versatile, so I would absolutely recommend you to get some sort of mini skirt. So one of my favorite 60s and 70s trends are shorts. Shorts with boots are just everything to me. I love the look of shorts with boots. And a very big trend, especially during the late 60s and early 70s, were any sort of leather pants. And I have a couple of leather shorts which I want to show you. So one being these. They're black leather shorts. They have this very cute hem up front here. I got them off of Depop. They're originally from H&M. I don't know when they sold them, but I think they're absolutely amazing. They fit the vibe perfectly. I also have this pair of light brown suede shorts. So after Woodstock and like the late 60s, clothing made from animals became very popular. Anything that gave off that earthy vibe, so any sort of wool and leather outfits became very popular, and I have these. They're not real leather, but they're so cute, and they're way more easy to wear than real leather. Like, I have a real leather skirt. It is so stiff and like so tight. I mean, it looks amazing, but it's not the most comfortable thing to wear. So if you're looking for a pair of shorts like these, you will probably find them at thrift stores pretty much everywhere. And if you find a pair of fake leather ones, maybe you want to get them because they are way more comfortable to wear. Moving on to jackets, I have this one. So this is originally from the 60s. It is a very classic little London style mod coat. Anything that's kind of like tweed and patterned is a very classic 60s London look. Yeah, I just think this is so cute. A huge trend of the 70s were Afghan coats. So just coats looking like that with little buckles up here were a big thing. Also, if you've seen Almost Famous, Penny Lane, they made them so famous again. I think they're amazing. They give up all of the right vibes. They're beautiful. This one also keeps me so warm, and you can often find them in thrift stores because they kind of had a comeback in the early 2000s, and some of these, even though they are from the early 2000s, kind of really look like they're from the 70s. So you might want to look out for these because I'm pretty sure you might find great deals on coats like this. A big 60s jacket trend were fur coats. So people like Patty Boyd, Marianne Faithfull, Sharon Tate, pretty much anyone had a real fur coat. So I know that this is absolutely not animal friendly. I got this one from a thrift store. it was not too expensive. I think it was like 20 bucks. You can get them for pretty cheap because mostly people who have them have already passed away, and so their clothes just get donated and you get them for kind of very cheap. This keeps me so warm, and even though I would never buy a new fur coat, like, don't get me wrong, I think fur coats are like the epitome of animal cruelty. I got this one thrifted, and as I said before, I feel like jackets and fur of animals that is reused is a very sustainable way of wearing fur, and that is why I have this, and it is so gorgeous. So I just quickly want to talk about shoes because I just uploaded a video on my entire shoe collection showing you every single pair that I own. If you want to see it, I will have it linked somewhere here and in the description box if you want to check that out. But I will just quickly talk about the biggest shoe trends of that time period, starting with the absolute classic 60s boots. If you just get a pair of black boots, they go with everything, and if you don't get like the heeled ones but a more flat one, they just go with everything. They're very easy to walk, absolutely comfortable, so that's a great trend. Also, you might want to look out for everything with a buckle. I got these from eBay. They have a great heel, like those small little heels I feel like are very wearable for every single day. Buckle up here, great pair of boots. Another big trend were ankle boots, just like these ones. Any sort of boot that kind of hits you right above the ankle, very popular. Also a very small heel and thick heel, so they're super easy to walk, and they pretty much go with everything. They're great with flares, they're great with shorts. You can also just put on some knee-high socks underneath them. Looks very cute, so absolutely recommend you to get a pair of ankle boots. And another big trend would be all sorts of sandals that kind of look like this. Obviously you could wear like some very high heels, but if you're just starting your wardrobe, I would recommend you to get something like these because these are wearable for every single day. White shoes were a really big trend. Any sort of like closed-toe little Mary Janes work perfectly fine. Next up, I would like to talk a bit about accessories. So I feel like accessories are the biggest thing to make your outfit from a more modern look go to like a 60s and 70s look. And I just want to share some very easy ways to accessorize your outfits to make them look more vintage. So one of the biggest 60s and 70s trends were belts. Let me walk you through some different belt styles that were very popular at that time. So during the early 60s, belts like these were very popular, just some thin, single colored basic belt. You might want to look for a buckle that is either round or kind of square shaped. That was very popular at the time. Another big trends were chain belts like these two. So as I said, geometrical things were a really big trend during the 60s in mod fashion, so I would highly recommend you to wear a belt like this. This is more of a 70s style chain belt, but I absolutely love this too. As I said before, going back to like nature materials was a big trend during the late 60s and early 70s, so I have this wooden belt. So you just tie it up here, and then this sits more on my hips and just gives me all of the Woodstock vibes. So with any sort of like thicker belt, you want to look for a really cool buckle. So any sort of big buckle or like circular buckle was very popular during the 70s especially. I don't necessarily wear them through the belt holes that like your jeans or outfits have. I just put on belts with everything. A simple dress, whatever, I just put on a belt on top. I like to wear multiple belts at once. I just feel like belts give you that extra little bit of 60s and 70s style. Another great way to accessorize in a 60s and 70s look are either knee socks, so just like these ones, or colored tights, just like, let me show you these ones. So I have a huge collection of colored tights and knee-high socks. I get them from thrift stores. They're usually so cheap. A lot of them are still in their original packaging. So I, for example, have this pair. Such a cool packaging. I also have these ones. They have a very cute little design on them. Got them for $1. I can highly recommend you to look through the tight section at your local thrift store. Another big accessorizing trend were sunglasses. So you can either wear something like this. It's just a very classic cat eye look. They were popular in the 50s and also in the 60s. This is a very beatnik kind of look. Something a bit more groovy, kind of like this, which gives you a very 70s look. I also have this one for a great 70s look. So any sort of big and extravagant sunglass will absolutely give you a 70s look. Another big 60s and 70s trends were shawls and any sort of scarves. So either scarves like these, which are kind of square, and then you can just tie them like this, and you can wear them as little like headbands. This looks probably ridiculous because I'm wearing a hat underneath, but I think you can get what I'm kind of trying to show you. Or you can kind of like scrunch them up and then wear them like this. Scarves with like more psychedelic prints like this one, which is so beautiful. Something with a paisley print is also very 60s. Moving on to shawls. These were so popular, like any sort of triangular shaped shawl. This one, which is so beautifully embroidered, or I have this one, which is actually a square little thing. I think this might be a tablecloth, but as I said before, I don't care what it was, I just wear it how I like to. Absolutely loving this. Such a beautiful print, and also like the little tinsels that it has down here, so gorgeous. So especially with the whole Woodstock and hippie look, these were so popular. This is a little lace shawl that I have, and you can kind of like either wear them around here, like down on your shoulders. You can tie them up in your hair, which looks great. Also, absolutely loving to tie them around my waist. So this is a big trend, and it's so easy to recreate. You can also find them kind of more crocheted, which this is like almost a poncho. I feel like these look like ponchos when you put them on like this. I really like to just use some sort of clip to kind of close them up front here, and these keep me so warm. Like I will wear them on top of turtlenecks in the winter and on top of like little cardigans, and they are just so cute. Absolutely keep me warm. Another big trend during the 60s and 70s were hats. So either berets, like I have the white one that I'm wearing right now, I have a black one, I have a red one. These are perfect for any sort of beat neck look, also a very staple mod piece. So if you are really into like the 60s London style, you really want to get some of those. Another big trend were straw hats like this one. I got this one at a thrift store as well. Also hats like this, absolutely loving this. Also kind of like has this velvet look to it. As I said, velvet was very popular in the late 60s. Next up, I would love to talk about handbags. A huge trend during the 60s, especially with mod fashion, were those kind of bags. They kind of have the metal down here and they're very stiff. This one is so beautiful. I got this gifted actually. Also, as I said before, velvet. So this is one of my absolutely favorite pieces from my wardrobe. This is from the 60s originally. Such a cute little bag. Absolutely love the little crochet detailing. If you prefer a 70s look, these are great. So any sort of like leathery bag that kind of comes with like some sort of details, or even like these little metal buckles up here. That one strap broke, so I think I got this so inexpensive because this one was already almost broken. I absolutely have to fix them, but this is a thing that I can also recommend you to do if things are broken like this one. So this isn't really broken, it's just kind of like it fall apart here, but the rest of the bag is still in great condition. Get it and fix it. Fixing things is such a great way to like have an awesome vintage wardrobe. Pieces that you get from the 60s and 70s are usually the best quality. Like this blouse, also from the 60s, it's a silk blouse and the quality is insane. So if you get a piece like this bag, which is from the 70s, and a part of it is broken, don't worry, because the quality of it is amazing and you can just fix it. And actually the way that we now throw away broken clothing is absolutely insane. Honestly, it's insane. Like back in the 70s and 60s, people just repaired their things, and it seems like the right thing to do. If something's broken, just fix it. You don't have to get a new thing. So what I like to do, I just go on YouTube, type in fixed leather bag, and you will find a ton of videos and tutorials on how to do it. This is one of my absolutely most treasured things in my wardrobe. It's this wonderful bag. So these were very popular in the 60s. Isn't the lining so gorgeous? It says made in Hong Kong on the inside. So the last thing that I want to talk about is jewelry. I just want to show you some pieces that really give up that retro vibe. Starting with earrings. So these ones are, for example, very popular 60s look. Any sort of round shaped earrings are very 60s. I also have these ones, which are kind of more leathery, so these ones also are great. They're from the 60s as well. These are also great for like a more chic 60s look. Also great for a beatnik look. These are little guitar picks with the Beatles. I got them off of eBay and I just think they're absolutely amazing, so cute. I feel like music was such a big part of 60s and 70s culture that like wearing guitar pick jewelry was a big thing. I also have this guitar pick necklace with Queen from the Bohemian Rhapsody video. Another great 60s earring style would be something like this. So any sort of like big earring is a great 60s look. So for the 70s, peace signs and the hippie movement were obviously a big thing, so I have these beautiful little peace sign earrings and I wear the heck out of these ones. Moving on to rings. I personally love to wear a lot of rings. Yes, but just some very popular rings would be something like this, with just a big stone. So as I said before, during like the late 60s, all sort of natural materials became very popular. So I have this ring with like a stone on top that is so cool as well. And then I have this one, which is more of like a classic look. Moving on to bracelets, things like these were very popular. So any sort of jewelry that has like real flowers in them. This is from the 70s and I absolutely love it. These types of bracelets are absolutely gorgeous. Bracelets like this one and basically any sort of jewelry that is India inspired were very big during the late 60s. When the Beatles went to India, a whole sort of like India hype emerged and jewelry like this was very popular. As I said before, like wooden and stone materials became very popular, so I have this one that I absolutely love. And to like match the whole Maud Mary Quant aesthetic, I can absolutely recommend you to get a bracelet like this one. I got this at a thrift store as well and it was super inexpensive. With necklaces, obviously like classic pearls were a thing. As said before, nature materials were really big, so I have this little amber necklace that I got for my birthday. So this is a 70s necklace. Big pearls were a big thing. And then any sort of like droopy shapes, and these ones were really popular. And what I like about those longer necklaces, they double up as belts for me as well. So this is absolutely a gorgeous piece. And with like the whole hippie fashion, big necklace became super popular. So I have this one that is also from the 70s. This looks so cute on top of like turtlenecks. Always a great look. So next up, I'm going to show you a couple of outfits that are inspired by 60s and 70s trends, so you can kind of have some inspiration for your own looks. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love you to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment telling me what your favorite pieces were and what you look for in 60s and 70s fashion, because I'm absolutely interested in knowing that, and we can chat about it in the comments. It would also mean the absolute world to me if you would share this video with a friend to support me. I hope you're having an amazing day. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, take yourself some time for yourself, do something that's great for you today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!